All right, so I'd love to introduce our next speakers. We have Kevin Silva, Chief Human Resources Officer at Voya Financial. Kevin Silva is Chief Human Resources Officer for Voya Financial, Inc., which helps people in the U.S. plan, invest, and protect their savings to get ready to retire better. Silva has also served in senior human resources leadership roles as head of human resources for Merrill Lynch Capital Markets, chief human resources officer for MasterCard International, and executive director for PepsiCo Management Institute, PepsiCo. He serves as chairman of the board of directors for New York Institute of Technology and is a member of the Institute's executive committee. Silva also serves on the advisory board for Holy Trinity High School in Hicksville, New York, and is the executive sponsor for Voya's Latinx Employee Resource Group. Silva will be in conversation with Christina, our very own from Power to Fly, business development representative here at Power to Fly. So I will pass the mic to you two. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Mariela, for this kind introduction. I think we already know a lot about Kevin and his background, but Kevin, maybe we can start by having you tell us a little bit more about yourself, where you are based, and give us a little bit of insight into your career journey and what motivated you to study human resources.
Yes, I'd love to. First, can you hear me well?
Perfectly.
I am delighted to be here. I want to tell you how excited I am to have this invitation and to be part of this Latino group raising our voices. It's about time, and what a wonderful opportunity for us all to get together and talk about our careers. I started in a multicultural family. My father, Mexican American, first generation born in this country. My mother, Irish, which gave me a wonderful view of the world. And of course, my father's native tongue is Spanish. So having a multicultural view of the world has clearly instructed me in the way I think and the way I lead. I started very early going through college, and my first job was with Keebler Cookies, a consumer goods company. I was a very good sales person there, and I would sell in New York City to the bodegas and the small shops, and made commissions on selling cookies. It was a very difficult job, very hard one. But very early on, I realized as I got promoted, I was a very good salesperson. I got promoted to becoming a district manager, that I was only as good as the people that surrounded me. And there I put together a multicultural sales force, a very, very diverse sales force, and learn to train them, to assess them, to unlock their full potential, if you will. And my first understanding of human resources, because I was in sales at that point, is you're only as good as your team. And your team is only as good as you invest in them. So I would invest in them heavily. That's where I learned that I had a passion for people. From there, I moved on to PepsiCo. And I ran a consulting group for the independent bottlers all over the country, all over the world, in all sorts of neighborhoods. And then there I learned about independent business and all sorts of consumer goods, from manufacturing to display to marketing. Generally, everybody knows PepsiCo. That's a big name. And then from there, moved on to financial services, worked on Wall Street with Merrill Lynch, worked with a small insurance company in Bermuda, and got to live and work in Bermuda, and then joined ING US, worked for the Dutch, and took Voya, the company that I'm in, public. So my passion is people. I came into human resources from sales, and it's been a rewarding career. I think there is no better career right now than human resources. And in terms of diversity, to be a diverse individual in human resources is pretty spectacular. We as Latinos have been getting a lot of attention lately. I just had an update with my CEO right before this, and his encouragement to me was, make the Latin voices louder. Make them louder, make them heard, make them visible. I said, I'm going to be speaking to this very august group. Do you have any recommendation for me? And my CEO, Rod Martin's been a great partner. That was his advice. louder, more visible. This is our time. This is the time to do such.
Wow, that's amazing, Kevin. And you mentioned that your career journey has a lot of pivots from sales to then Bermuda and then Voya. And wow, was really, really incredible. And I was curious, when you started and when you started this journey, were you the only one Latino representing the entire community at your jobs?
Yes, I was. Let's consider myself at the back end of my career and maybe a little more mature. So, so there was a time when the Latino voices were not as loud and not as visible, and there was a time when diversity was misunderstood. I was part of many companies that wanted diversity, but I think many companies did not understand what diversity was. Yeah. I think many companies thought diversity was representation. If we bring in different people, that's diversity. But also these companies made a mistake, not bad intention. They would bring in very different people, Hispanics, Latinos, Blacks, and then say, welcome, but here's the way we dress. We all dress like this. Here's the way we speak. We all speak like this. Here's the way we wear our clothes, our hair. Here's the way we conduct ourselves. So these companies didn't understand the true meaning of diversity. They thought, gee, if we bring different people in, we'll be diverse. But many of these companies didn't understand the diversity is about the appreciation of ideas, the appreciation of different languages, that the different experiences that we have in gender and color and language and geography, that's what brings strength to an organization. So how can you bring in those differences and let those differences survive and prosper? And that's where the better word of inclusion comes in. I think now companies are doing a much better job. I know Voya is doing a very strong job with a lot of dedication to understanding inclusion, to raising up the different voices, to putting together our employee councils and getting ideas from our people. I in my career have never seen as much change as I'm seeing now. The amount of change is absolutely astounding. Not just the cultural change, but the gender change, and with that, the challenges, but the opportunities. I've asked my senior team, how many genders are there? There's not a single answer. You know, I challenge all of you to go out and Google and look at that, and even looking at the Latino population, having people understand how diverse even our single Latino population is. Yeah. Marielle talking from Argentina or Caribbean or South America or on and on. There's a lot of diversity. So understanding how diverse the world is and understanding how diverse even our Latino culture is and embracing that is going to make us very, very powerful in the organizations in which we work.
Yeah, and that same thing that every one of us that are diverse, we bring different point of views that can make the company grow, and that is what I feel, and I think that we are seeing right now, that the companies are understanding that we can reach more markets and we can reach more businesses if we include these other point of views, and there is not that the same uniform for everybody. It is the uniqueness what we make us more powerful within the business and within our life. So I double down what everything that you just said. And thinking about your position in Voya and what you were talking about, I know that you were brought into that company to change and innovate in the human resources. Saying that Voya is so you said that process of introducing culture is more like steering a battleship, and why did you brought that similarity between building this human resources department and steering the Battleship?
Yes, well, I use that analogy because a battleship is big. It's hard to move, and sometimes it moves so slowly, and one needs to put a lot of pressure and power against it to move it even a few inches. And no one person can move a battleship. It takes a team. It takes many dedicated people all working together in concert, and it moves in inches and it moves in increments. So declaring what one's culture is going to be is not the movement. That's only the start. I like to think every company has a culture. Some companies have a culture by default. They didn't explain it. It's just the sum of all the leadership behaviors. Some companies have a culture by purpose. And so the way to think about culture is we at Voya have a culture, just like everyone, and values. We post it on the walls and we put it in our reports and we say, here's who we want to be. But that's not how employees experience culture. That published culture or those values are only an aspiration. That's who we want to be. That's not who we are. Who we are is the sum of all the leadership behaviors. Employees experience culture through their managers, through their leaders. Everything a manager does, everything a manager says, that's culture. Not what's published on the wall. That's not culture. And so very much we have to be thoughtful about what we say, but as important, what we do. And when our leadership behaviors align with what we've said is our culture, you have a culture that's in harmony. But when we say this is our culture and we act this way and it's different, you have chaos. You have people in an organization saying that's not genuine. That's not who they are. Leadership says we're this, but they do this. And so part of culture is aligning what we say with what we do. Part of culture is rewarding people for their behaviors, is having consequences for what people do. And that means promoting the culture carriers in your organization. And it may mean moving out those who don't display the culture. It means training people in terms of what's right and acceptable. At Voya, the way we've done this, Christina, is it's a long journey over time. We actually, on our performance appraisal, have what we call the what and the how. So we rate our senior managers on what did you accomplish? Did you accomplish your sales goals? Did you deliver on your objectives? But also how? Did you hold our values? Did you treat people properly? Did you reinforce our culture? Did you develop followership? And so half of their rating is based on the deliverables, but half of their rating is based on the how as well.
Yeah, and that is super important because many of the companies, they stay in the what, and they have these displayments and everything, but inside the company is really is not what is actually happened. And yeah, the people can feel that they don't belong, and that is very important because we belong to that organization that you are in. So yeah, that is super, super important. And as you say that it is a what, so that it into that how, and how do you change the outlook of a more cultural outlook in that organization? How is that happening?
Yeah, how are we changing the mindset of culture? There are different ways that managers and leaders lead. And so I'll give you a simple example of the way that I think about it. At the lowest level, at the worst level, leaders, what I call consume people. They they run through a lot of people. They, when I use the word consume, they're hard to work for. They're very demanding, and the employees get nothing out of it. They get drained, if you will.
Yeah.
So at the lowest level, leaders drain their people. At the next level, leaders use their people. The people are no worse or no better for having worked for this leader. The leader says, I pay you, you do a job, we're even. That's it. It's an exchange. It's a transaction. You come to work, you do this work, you get paid. At the highest level, though, managers grow and develop people. So it's this highest level that's most important for culture. It is when people work for you, they should be better as a result of working for you. They should be able to do more. You should have unleashed their full talent. You should have made them a better person, professionally and personally. That's what we want to see. And we want to see that kind of behavior in all of our leaders. We certainly do at Voya. We ask, does this leader have followership? Will people follow them? If they had a choice and they were going to vote tomorrow, would they say, yes, this is the person I want to work for? Or is this leader running the organization just by authority and consuming people? You'll do this because I say so, because I'm the boss. And so there's different ends of this spectrum. At the highest level, where you're growing people and you're teaching them the cultural values, that's the way to sustain a culture in an organization, because you teach them, they teach others, and the organization grows. It's not about one personality at the top. It's about teaching a whole organization to have the same values.
Wow, that is incredible, because that trainings and that all that you mentioned, that took time, that takes time. So when you mentioned that the leadership they inspire their co-workers, I am just thinking, well, how is Voya doing this? How is this thought process behind this execution? How is One Voya building?
Yeah, we One Voya is not the top of the organization talking down. It's not about the CEO, and it's not even about the CEO and me, the CHRO, and alignment. It's about listening and building a company together. This is where we have our employee-led councils. This is where we bring our African-American council together, and there's been such struggle in the African-American community lately. And we listen. What are the concerns? What are the aspirations? What do we want to achieve? How can we support our employees, and how can we support our customers of color? We're doing this with our Latino Council, and as you've heard, I'm very proud to be part of that Latino Council. Our LGBTQ Council, our Women's Council. We want to know, and we want our people not just to react, but to inform us, to be part of how we build this company, to educate us. We have a reverse mentor program in our company where we have the junior people mentoring the senior people.
Wow, that's incredible.
If you think about it right now, we have 5 generations of people in the workforce. Never, ever before have we had this many generations, and every generation has had a different experience. And the values that people bring, as I said, diversity when I started in my career now to where I am is a very different thing. I am so excited about what's happening today with people. So that's one way. Another way that we make One Voya is we have purpose. What we do is called purpose workshops, and our purpose. We look at the company's purpose and the individual purpose. Our purpose is to fight as a company, to fight for everyone's financial future and for their security. So we want people to be financially secure. We live in a country where half the population cannot put their hands on $400 of liquidity, $400 of cash in an emergency. That's half our population. Financial literacy and financial planning is so very important. So that's our company purpose. My personal purpose is to unlock the full potential of others. And so I get to marry together my personal purpose with the company's the purpose. And it's a wonderful thing when you understand the company's purpose and it's defined, and you can put together your personal purpose with it. You have meaning in life. You make very meaningful contributions, and that's how we put together One Voya.
Wow, and that is incredible and super important, because when you find these differences between one purpose and the company purpose, and maybe the company purpose is, like you said, it is stated, but it's not what they actually do, you are disengaged. And that thing that you just brought that up, that you could be able to match those, it is incredible. It is really, really incredible. And also I took that that you said that the youngest generations are now also teaching the oldest ones. That is impressive and very innovative, because no many companies do that for sure. So I'm happy that you get to share that knowledge with us. And talking more about this engagement and disengagement and these challenges, how can you make your community members to feel more connection with their work? Is that something else that you are doing, or this is only One Voya?
Yeah, we are very much pushing our people to represent us in the community. We have the Voya Foundation. We have a charitable match. I'll give you a couple of examples. We have a charitable match where for every dollar that one of our employees gives to a charity of their choice, so our employees get to choose their own charity, the company will match it with another dollar. So we will double everyone's contribution by doing that. We give people 40 hours of paid time per year to do volunteer work in the communities.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah, and we do that in so many other ways. So I know we're coming up on time. I'll just make a couple of concluding remarks. I think this is a wonderful time. This is a wonderful time for us. It's a wonderful time for us as a community. I encourage all of you to turn the volume up on your voice, to bring your courage out, to insert your ideas, to get involved. So many wonderful things are happening for the Latino community, and you see legislation in California where they're requiring now Latino members to be on public boards. You'll see more of that in the country. This is a wonderful, wonderful time, and so I encourage all of you to find your purpose, find your company, and get engaged. By the way, one last little commercial. We have many openings at Voya. If you like the sound of this, look at our job board. Please apply. We're working remotely now. We let people work from home. They don't need to come to the office. We have a wonderful culture. Please look us up.
Well, Kevin, thank you very much for all the knowledge and the wisdom that you shared with us. We are so happy that you got this time with us, and I have to tell you that it's a lot of love in the chat. There is many people engaging with us, so I thank you for being here, and I thank you, Voya, for also having these initiatives that are super, super incredible, really. And well, thank you very much for being here and for sharing with us.
Thank you so much.